obviously a great thing. There is a few differences between hurling and camogie, but not much. Camogie games are 60 minutes, whereas hurling is 70, so obviously just 10 minutes shorter. The sliotar is slightly smaller, so all these ones here are size 5. We use a size 4, which is just a fraction smaller, a little bit softer and lighter. I think that is everything. Yeah. So the first video we're going to show you is just, like it says there, just a small bit on the history of hurling, and then after that we'll go into the rules.
The Irish game of hurling is one of the oldest field games in the world. Hurling was first referenced in literature dating back over 3,000 years ago to the year 1272 BC. Hurling is often referenced in Irish mythology, like the famous story of Cuchulainn, who earned his name after killing a fierce hound by driving a sliotar down its throat. The Irish Brehon laws even provided compensation for hurling accidents in cases of injury or even death as a result of hurling. Stories like this sometimes portray hurling as a form of training warriors for battle. To no surprise, under British rule, hurling was banned on multiple occasions. When the old Irish annals were being translated in the 19th century, they were being translated in a time of British oppression and rising Irish nationalism. Efforts were being made to de-anglicise the island and to desperately hold on to Irish traditions such as our language, music, dancing, and of course, sports.
It explains the rules of hurling. Hurling is an Irish sport played with 2 teams of 15 players each. The game is played on a field that's generally a maximum of 145 metres by 85 metres. These are the goals, which are 6.5 metres wide, and the crossbar, which is 2.5 metres above the ground. Unlike in football, the posts extend above the crossbar, just like in rugby. The exact same goals and field dimensions are used in Gaelic football. The object of the game is for your team to score more overall points than the opposing team. To score, a player must use his stick, known as a hurley, to hit a ball, known as a sliotar, into the goal. If they successfully hit the sliotar under the crossbar and into the net, this is a goal and is worth 3 points. If a player hits the sliotar over the crossbar but between the posts, this is a point and this scores 1 point. The game is played into 30-minute halves for a combined playing time of 60 minutes. High score at the end of time wins. Any game that results in a draw must be replayed. Surely it can't be that simple. Well, it's not. There's a lot of things you can and can't do to move the ball up the field in hurling. You can move the ball by hitting the ball with the hurley out of your hands, hitting the ball with the hurley along the ground, kicking it along the ground, kicking or lifting up the ball with your hurley and then striking it. A player can also run with the ball if he bounces or bounces it on his hurley. A player can catch the ball with his hands in the air. And a player can hand pass to a teammate where you slap the ball with an open palm. However, a player cannot touch the ball on the ground with his hands. A player cannot throw the ball or throw their hurley. A player cannot take more than 4 steps with the ball in hand. And a player cannot play the ball from his hand to his hurley more than twice. Therefore, he's only able to handle the ball twice in 1 possession. There are 15 members of the opposing team who are trying to take the ball away from you so that they can score themselves. They are allowed to make shoulder-to-shoulder contact so long as the opponent has possession of the ball, or, if no one has the ball, be shoulder-to-shoulder to the opponent nearest the ball. They are also allowed to use their hurley to block shots or prevent you from shooting. Games are generally high-scoring and fast-paced, but there's a few other things you'll need to understand before playing or going to a game. For example, puck. A puck is a restart in play, usually after a foul or if the ball goes out of bounds. If the ball goes out of bounds, a puck is awarded at the nearest line. If the ball is hit out of the end line by an attacker, the defending team gets a puck out at the 65-metre line. If a foul occurs, a free puck is awarded either at the spot of the foul, where the ball lands after a foul, or at the 20-metre line for fouls inside the 20-metre area. Foul. If a player commits any of these infractions, a foul is assessed and the other team is awarded possession of the ball by way of a free puck. Just like in football, a player can also be cautioned or sent off the pitch for serious offences. Penalty puck. If a foul was committed on a player with a legitimate chance to score, a penalty puck, similar to a penalty kick in soccer, will be given to the attacking team. The ball is placed on the ground at the 20-metre line, and all other players must be 20 metres away. There is 1 goalkeeper and 2 defenders defending the goal. The player is allowed to lift the ball off the ground and shoot the ball once. Any goals scored count towards the overall score. Substitution. A team is allowed to substitute up to 5 players per game. Very similar to football, the players must wait in the substitution area and players must enter or exit at the designated area only, and only in a stoppage of play. To the uninitiated, hurling seems like a strange sport to understand, but once you understand the rules, it becomes a great sport to watch. If you have found this video at all helpful, please like, share with your friends, comment and subscribe. It took me ages to make one of these things, and good karma is very much appreciated. If you're also on Reddit, you can post this video and discuss it there. But in the meantime, enjoy hurling.
Okay, so if anyone has any questions, I'll try my best to answer them. So like you can see there in the video, like especially in like the older ones, if I can find a clip there, that like some players were wearing helmets, some players weren't wearing helmets. Helmets weren't made mandatory in GA until 2010.
Wow.
Which, yeah, a lot of people find surprising. I think I read it somewhere that the first person to ever wear a helmet, it was a college game back in, I think it was 1966, and it was a motorcycle helmet. So, yeah. But helmets kind of became popular kind of the late 80s, early 90s, and even then it was just the helmet. Like, there wasn't any face guard, and then naturally they became a bit more popular, and then like I said, they were made mandatory then in 2010.
I guess it would be pretty easy to get hit with a flying ball, right?
Yeah.
So were there a lot of the sticks too, right?
Yeah.
Were there a lot of dangerous injuries before that?
Yeah, a lot of head injuries obviously, so
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's why they were made mandatory. Obviously, then again, just for safety of like younger players and stuff as well, because even underage, they weren't made mandatory either.
Huh.
How long are you able to have it in your hand?
So, like you said, you can take it into the hand twice, but if you have it on your hurl, you can run for however long you want. But you can't take, like you said there in the video, you can't take more than 4 steps with the ball in your hand, and you can't take it into your hand more than twice.
So Chloe, I was trying to watch the goalies. I don't even know if that's what they're called.
Yeah.
But it didn't look like they were wearing any.
No, they just have the helmet as well.
That's all they have too.
Yeah, I mean they have like a wider, so the end of a hurley is called a boss. Like some people like wider ones, like this one's a bit wider here than this one. But they make special goalie hurleys, and the bosses kind of come to about this wide, just makes them easier for them to block the sitter. But
they had no other special equipment, like
no, just the
nothing
helmet.
And they're getting those sliotar, is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
sliotar, yeah.
They're getting those thrown at them, and they're not wearing anything else more protective than a helmet?
No.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Some people wear shin guards, but it's not really, they're not really that popular at senior level.
Yeah. Can you pass the ball
Yep.
around to show people how hard it is?
Is there a difference between that and a baseball?
They're a small bit softer, not quite much though.
Train a lot with the balance and the flip around the.
Yeah, like I train 8 and 9 year olds, so obviously they find it a lot harder because like all hurleys aren't this size. Like for camogie you measure it to kind of where it just meets your wrist, but then for hurleys it's up to your hip for the hurling. So like they obviously find it a lot harder to balance. Like they have the same size, just a little bit smaller, but they're a lot softer. So we encourage them just to play on the ground because obviously they have trouble like picking it up and running with it and stuff.
Yeah, I saw a lot of really cool skills there.
Yeah.
Popping it up, bouncing it,
Yeah.
running along really fast.
There was one highlight, and there was the All Ireland hurling final last Sunday, I think, or the Sunday before, and one of the players was coming in and he had it on the hurl and then he flipped it over, balanced it on this side over the head of another player, and then just pumped it in. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Well, that leads me to my question, what's the season?
Usually September, but the kind of All Ireland Championship then is like it usually starts around kind of April.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like so you have the league and then you have your championship. So
Okay,
championship.
so they play
is usually
September through April?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Chloe, what kind of level do you play at?
So I'd be junior B. So you have what I do is under 10s, and then it kind of goes up every 2 years. So there's under 10, 12, 14, 16. Then once you get over 16, you're into minors, and then you have senior. But then there's like you have like intermediate, junior, and senior. So I'd be junior B.
Watching the videos, I forgot to look for the referees or, so and that is one fast game. So how do they tell, in the crowd, I've had it twice in my hand or 3 times,
Yeah, how do you
Yeah,
keep
there's a lot of
track that?
training. You have to pay. You
How
really
many
close attention to what they're doing.
How many reps are there?
Just one. But then you've you've linesmen, then you've umpires, like you have two umpires, like one on side of each goal.
So Chloe's team is, her favorite team is Cork, right? And she has a referee story, or an official story.
They never make mistakes though, right?
Never. They never miss a call.
They made one big mistake last Sunday. So basically, jersey pulling is a foul, like you saw there. So obviously, a free has to be given. And then it was a level game for the majority of the game, and then it was played in extra time. And one of the Clare players pulled a Corkman's jersey as he was putting the ball over, and he never gave the free. So I was not very impressed.
Do they play it all around Ireland or just in a certain part?
They play it all around, but like I said, Kerry wouldn't be a hurling stronghold. Like I said, we're kind of annexed in. Like ours would be football. We'd be more popular with the football. But it's played all around the country. But some players, like some counties, would be stronger with it because they're raised on it, basically. Yeah.
Would you know if Leitrim is,
They're not really good.
No?
No.
It's okay, we do other things fine.
I'm assuming they don't play in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, they do.
They do?
Yeah.
Do they compete Northern Ireland, Southern, or they keep it within?
No, they
They're
compete.
part of the GAA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there an American league?
For hurling, I imagine. I know there is for football. I'm not 100% sure about hurling though. I imagine there will be somewhere.
I've heard that these players do it for pride, not for pay.
Yeah. So a lot of those players, they have day jobs, and that's just what they like to do. So yeah. So like Kerry now would be massive with the football, and you'd see some players after winning the All Ireland Championship 2 days later they're working in your local bank. So
I love it. I love it.
yeah. So, yeah.
So these referees, it's not like they live in, a rival county and their wives are for another team, right? That wouldn't happen either.
So yeah, like for a lot of the big games, obviously the referees have to be neutral, but then there's always a connection to one of the teams. So yeah, there's always a connection. So yeah.
And they have a Super Bowl, so to speak, a final championship.
Yeah, that's the All
What
Ireland
was the
final.
score in that game, would you say, just to get the number?
Sorry?
What was the score of that game, roughly?
I think it was 31 points to 32. Yeah. Yeah. Very
Yeah,
nice.
I have a question about the score too. The score looked like there's a hyphen in there, like 31.
Yeah, so if you saw 1 and it could have been like 2-14,
Right.
that means there's 14 points and then 2 goals. So then you have to do the maths in your head. So obviously, like you saw, a goal is worth 3 points. So then 2 is obviously 6, and you can add that onto the 14. That's when you get your total.
So goals are rarer than points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier to put the ball over the bar than to get it in the goal. Yeah.
Are the rules the same for the girls as the men?
They're slightly different. So like I said, camogie is 60 minutes. And all our like a senior level hurling game would be 70. And you probably saw in the hurling, some of the men wear like the goalies wear different jerseys. In camogie, they all wear the same jersey, so you can swap in goalie in and out.
But how long you can carry it in your hand and it's
Oh no, they're all
the
the same. Yeah.
They said 5 substitutions per game. Does that mean that everyone stays on the whole time, or like I'm not saying this right. For us, we'd have like lines in the regular sport. So we'd have like the first line, second line, third line. Are you saying that everyone plays the entire game and you can only shift out 5 players, 5 single players, like for an injury or something?
Yeah, so you start with 15, and then it's up to the coach or manager. Then they have, like I said, 5 players that are, well, they have a whole selection of extra players, but they can only swap in and out 5.
Don't they get exhausted?
Yeah, well, they're obviously trained to run for 70 minutes. It's like soccer.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the attendance at like the All Ireland or the final?
I think Crow Park is somewhere around 82,000. That's the biggest one. I think the Aviva is more like soccer and rugby, but I think that is 55. Then you have Porky Key, which is in Cork. I'm not exactly sure what the attendance is for that. And then you have Semple Stadium, which is in Tipperary. They'd be like the kind of main ones: Croke Park, Semple, and Porky Key.
Is there like a Michael Jordan person of the sport?
There's a lot of legends, yeah. Today you'd kind of be looking at, there's Patrick Horgan, which plays for Cork, Tony Kelly, Clare, Henry Shefflin was a big one. He played for Kilkenny for years, and he retired and then went to Galway to manage, just like one of the rivals, so everyone in Kilkenny was like, oh, so yeah. But,
the trader.
yeah, then you have Liam McCarthy, which is what the cup is named after. If you saw them running out, ton of trophy in the middle, that's Liam McCarthy. That's kind of the holy grail for hurlers, so yeah.
So for a person like that, they still have day jobs, or do they use their celebrity to?
Yeah, well they're obviously really popular, but like I said, they could be working in your local bank or wherever. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you give this presentation to a bunch of our NFL players? They don't know what it's like to run for 90 minutes.
Really?
They do a play and they stop.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
think they're so tough.
I think that's everything.
So Chloe, are you any good, or are you gonna show us our good yet?
Show you something, yeah. So, I can't remember if it was in the video or not, but you have two ways that you can lift up the ball. It might be a little bit harder now on wood, but
Are those your jerseys then?
this one was lended to us. It came with two hurleys, but this is my own one. It's a commemorative one for the Camogie. It's 120 years this year. So like I said, 1904. And like I also said, the way it's governed by two different bodies, so it wouldn't have the GAA crest on it. It just has the Camogie crest. So anyone that plays Camogie, like no matter how like young or whatever, they always have that crest on it. And then obviously hurling has the GAA's different governing body. So yeah, so you have two different ways that you can pick up the ball. There's the roll lift, which is like this, just pick it up and run it off. And then you have the jab lift, which is easier. This is what we kind of teach the younger kids to do, just because it's easier for them. Like if they're running, it's easier for them just to go like this instead of stopping, just to, you know, it's just easier to keep going. So yeah.
They all about bending down though, right?
Yeah, we kind of teach them as well to catch it into your hand as soon as you can, like keep it low, because obviously if you lift it up, someone can knock your hand. And we also teach them to, if you're going for a high ball, to keep the hurley behind, just in case someone comes in with like a chop or anything like that. So.
Oh yeah, because they don't can't wear gloves on either hand, right?
There are gloves you can wear, but they have like that much padding in them. Yeah, just makes it easier to catch the ball. Like there isn't as much sting, but you don't keep them kind of look at you weird if you wear the gloves. So.
I think I asked you last night, is there a better way or worse way to have your hands apart or?
So if you're right-handed, always keep your right hand at the bottom, and then if you're striking, like you throw up the ball, and then you kind of bring your hands together as you swing. So then obviously if you're left-handed, it's obviously your left hand, but if I'm striking off my left side, I just keep it there because it's easier for me. So yeah. I think that's it.
Pretty cool.
Is the surface, if maybe you already said this, is it grass or is it like the artificial turf?
No, it's grass. Yeah, and then the odd time you train on the AstroTurf, but not that much. Like you'd always play on grass.
Do they play regardless of the weather?
Yeah.
I love it.
Like I've been out in all types of weather training, playing, so yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. If anyone wants to have a go, you're obviously more than welcome to come up if you want to pick up the hurl and stuff. The grip on this is kind of deteriorating as well, so just watch your hands.
In the 75 minutes that they're playing, are there like timeouts or like a half time?
Yeah, so it's 35 minutes a half for hurling, then obviously 30 for camogie, and then I think it's about 15 minutes then, half time. Yeah.
So it's generally a winter sport?
Kind of, yeah. Like I said, championship is more like during the summer, and then you're kind of more or less straight back into it. Like you have your off-season training, and then kind of really January is when the league and the championship picks up.
Do you play it all the time outside, or do you sometimes have to go inside?
When it's not raining, you play outside. some of the bigger clubs, they have what they call wall ball. So you have basically the same type of ball, but it's a lot more softer that you can hit it off the wall, so you're able to train inside. Yeah.
But it's to train, that's not to play.
Yeah, to train.
Hey Chloe, I'd like to see someone, Peter, walk from one end of the room to the other with you.
Yeah, if you want to try.
Thank you, thank you.
There's a beer out for you.
You want to spank me with it, that's what you want.
My son was there.
Do you want to try balancing?
No, 2002 I was there, so it was before they had helmets.
You can just pick it up, yeah. There you go.
They make it look easy on the video.
So you're next.
Try walk with it if you want. Yeah, so. Like I said, it depends on height. If you're like buying a hurley, like they measure it for men and they do for women. So obviously, if you're younger kids, they'd be a lot more smaller. So that was really good because you had really long hurley.
What kind of wood are these made out of?
Ash.
Yeah.
And then you get some ones, and they're you can get some plastic ones, but they're not as good.
Is there a specific way the tip should point as it goes like this, or?
Like this is just like
See if you can
kind of
balance
a
it.
standard make, but like
Tricky, isn't it?
if you're like an inter-county player, you can just go to your maker and they kind of make them custom. Like a lot of players prefer like a wider boss, some of them prefer a smaller one. I personally like thicker hurley, some players like pins. So yeah.
Some variation, that's cool.
Yeah.
Ready?
Probably easier on grass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot easier on grass.
Mike, are you planning on doing it?
If we want to, yeah.
Games outside?
Sometimes when you play games indoors,
For like younger kids, if you're like 6 or 7, they have the indoor academies.
Put it on the stick and see if you can walk with it. Don't try to bounce it.
Yeah.
Just try to
Like
do that
naked
and walk
spring
with
race.
it. There you go.
That's it.
The only thing is you can't stand still, but it steals the ball from you.
Yeah. That's for sure.
So Mike, are you gonna go see Hurling when you're over there?
Yeah, maybe we will. We'll try to squeeze one in.
Before we go outside.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna do the tickets first.
Okay.
Thank you, Chloe.
Yeah, so like if you were running, I could just hit that's about yeah, as long as it's not touching the ground.
They have a little place upstairs.
Yeah, so one thing we kind of do is just have them line up and then you just run out, or you can pick it up like this, get it into your hand, and they do like a little lap then around their line of play. Can't pass off it like that. play a load of little games that are just going to be feeling the stick of the ball.
When they're little, do girls and the boys play together?
They do up until about under 8. Well, under 6 is maybe. I know under 10 they have for.
Oh, all right.
Well, have you ever seen her with a basketball?
No.
She could do the thing with the finger. Right.
Oh. I thought all I could do with a basketball. Really? Woo. You could be a star.
Thank you.
Like I watch a lot of the senior games, like you're just kind of getting knocks, really, and they just kind of get up and get on with it. But there was, like, at the big game last week, there was a big tackle. So we had a big gash across his forehead. So like referees, sometimes they just get caught in the wrong time. Like one time, the referee broke his nose in the middle of the game. So they just get, I think one of the lines went out to referee the game. Yeah.
It's harder than a gun.
Are the Irish football season and the whole season opposite?
No, they're pretty much the same, yeah.